I'm Nancy Norman, Finance Director at the Children's Alliance. Welcome to Voices for Children Online, and to this special event featuring our longtime and now outgoing Executive Director, Paola Maranan. Before I introduce Paola, though, I want to thank our sponsors for their support of Voices for Children, our platinum sponsors, the Boeing Company and Seattle Children's, our gold sponsors, Kaiser Permanente, UFCW 21, and Washington State Hospital Association. Our silver sponsors, CMAR Community Health Centers and Sisters of Providence. Since 1993, Paola Maranan has led the Children's Alliance in bringing attention and a sharp focus to the many ways that racial disparities diminish opportunity for Washington kids. Under her leadership, our efforts have strengthened the will of public officials, policy advocates, and community leaders to take positive steps for racial justice for Washington kids. As a longtime staff member, I can affirm that Paola shines that light in many ways. She was and is a mentor and a leader for a generation of Children's Alliance staff, guiding and pushing and learning alongside us toward an ever deeper expertise in promoting policy solutions that further racial equity. And we at the Children's Alliance have happily shared her on occasion with child advocacy organizations across the country. All along the way, Paola Maranan has been a friend to many. To me, to my daughter Hallie, who met Paola as a preschooler and now at 23 is one of Paola's many fans. Every child who has entered the door of our office or attended a Children's Alliance event has known Paola's warmth. Generous beyond measure, Paola Maranan shares both her wisdom and her warmth, her humor. I know many, including me, are grateful not only for her leadership, but for her friendship. Now, because of the coronavirus pandemic, we cannot hold the blowout in-person celebration that we'd like to have for Paola, but we also can't let her go without a party. So we hope that you'll join us next week on Thursday, July 2nd, from 4:30 to 6:30 for Paola Palooza, an online community celebration and dance party in honor of Paola. Look for the RSVP link on the screen at the end of the program or in the chat to learn more about the event. It'll be kid-friendly. There will be a live DJ. We hope you'll join us. And now I'm very happy to welcome my colleague of many years, Paola Maranan.
Thank you, Nancy. Hello, friends. In September of 1993, I walked into Children's Alliance to a new job as a policy coordinator. And when I walked in, I was home. This home, Children's Alliance, is where my heart has been for the last 27 years. As a staff member, a board member, and since 2004 as executive director. As I bring my work here to an end, I think fondly of what this home has meant to me. Like the best of homes, it's been the place where I learned important lessons, had my proudest moments, and found my belonging. Lessons like, check your black shoes before you leave for Olympia, lest you look down and find shoes that are similar, but decidedly not the same. This home is where I learned a language, not just the jargon sprinkled throughout policy, but the maxims that continue to guide our work. I learned nothing about us without us. We advocate with families and communities, not just for them. Engaging those directly impacted by policies gives us the on-the-ground expertise that results in policies that actually make sense for the families and kids who count on them. I learned that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. I've had the chance to sit at a lot of tables alongside so many of you, whether it was early learning, children's health, juvenile justice, child welfare, or child hunger. I look back with gratitude to those of you who have been my teachers and co-conspirators. I learned the child advocate's golden rule: want for every kid what you want for the kids you love. In the end, this may prove to be our most potent weapon to fight the shortcomings of systems created in the context of white supremacy and 401 years of structural racism. In this home, I learned many lessons, all of them at the hands of people generous enough to teach me and kind enough to whisper, "Your shoes," as they pointed to my feet. In this home, I've had my proudest moments. Together, we guaranteed health insurance for every kid, put more food on family tables, fought for better treatment for kids in our foster care system, demanded mission-level focus on racial equity in our early learning, child welfare, and juvenile justice systems, won historic levels of funding for our youngest learners, called for decriminalizing marijuana and stemming the tide of mass incarceration, and demanded accountability for acts of police violence. My proudest moments lie not just in what we've done, but how we've done it. I'm proud of the role I've played to build a racial equity-focused public policy practice at Children's Alliance. I'm proud that we are operationalizing what we know, that if we are to bend the arc of history toward justice for all kids, we must focus our efforts on those who have been held furthest from opportunity by racism in its many forms. We have reasons to be proud, but we cannot rest on those laurels. Every hard-won victory for kids must now be robustly defended. With news of a $9 billion shortfall through 2023, our call as child advocates is even clearer. The hardest times shouldn't get carried by the smallest shoulders. We must not solve this crisis at the expense of our kids. We must not force Black and brown kids to carry the bulk of the pain, as they always do. Now is the time to lean into equity, not out. And now is the time to get grown up about revenue in our state. Our mission to protect childhood and secure opportunity for every child in Washington will only succeed if we end racism. And we cannot be successful at fighting racism until we are successful at fighting the anti-Blackness that endangers the lives of Black children each and every day. According to the Annie E. Casey Foundation, Black children in Washington state endure outcomes that are worse than white kids in any other state in the country. Our Black children don't need to see this data to feel its truth. They see and they know. I had the chance to join my staff colleagues at the Seattle Children's March 2 weeks ago. I saw Black children carrying signs that said, "Am I next? And does my life matter?" I saw a trio of kids in t-shirts that said, "Little Black Lives Matter." The kids were as beautiful as their shirts were heartbreaking. This is the urgent work of child advocates, to make those shirts unnecessary. The conviction that Black lives matter, that little Black lives matter, has to leap off of our yard signs and into our advocacy. As they say, this moment must become a movement. And it's our role as child advocates in this movement to say, when Black children's lives matter, all children's lives will matter. In this home, I have had my proudest moments, and there is so much more to be done. That's why I never truly can leave. I will forever be a child advocate and right alongside you. Our work together as child advocates is the home where I found my belonging. And for this home, I will always be grateful. Thank you for trusting me with this mission, for teaching me what I had to learn, for offering grace when I needed it, and for all the ways that you stood alongside me. To our supporters, thank you for fueling the mission every time you gave and every time you took action. To our member organizations and advocacy partners, thank you for being fellow travelers and co-conspirators. To our board members, past and present, thank you for this opportunity to lead. To say that I was green when I began would be an understatement. Thank you for helping me grow into this role. I hope that I never lost sight of how precious and singular of a privilege this has been. To the staff, thanks to all of the brilliant and fierce folks I have been blessed to call teammate. Any appreciation for my work really belongs to all of you. I especially want to thank two of these staff, John Gould and Nancy Norman. I am here today because you both lifted me up every day that came before. To the families, thank you for sharing your voice and your power. Thank you for trusting me to advocate for your kids. Most importantly, to Washington's 1.6 million kids, in your efforts to claim the futures you deserve, I see you. I honor and gather courage from your struggle to grasp and hold a world that's worthy of your stewardship. Thank you for lending me that courage. I've cleaned up my toy-filled office. I've taken down all the sweet drawings from our office kids and tucked them away in a box. I promise that I'll turn in my keys. I'm leaving the house, but I'm never leaving this home, because it turns out home is where the heart is. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Onward is another thing we like to say at Children's Alliance. And in the spirit of onward, it's truly my pleasure to introduce you to our next Children's Alliance Executive Director. Dr. Stephan Blandford has been a powerful advocate for children throughout his career, as a leader in nonprofit organizations and as an elected public servant. It has been my pleasure to call him a colleague and a friend for more than 20 years. I'm excited to pass the baton to him. Literally, baton.
Thank you, my dear friend and social justice ally of more than 2 decades. Paola, what a powerful and impactful organization you've led over these many years. Although I must confess that I'm a little apprehensive about taking this baton and trying to fill your well-worn shoes, even if they're mismatched, I know that we must all complete the next leg of this race. I look forward to working with each one of you and working for the children and families of our state so that they have a fair chance to win their own races. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephan. And thank you for joining us for the special Voices for Children Week event. Supporters like you are essential in helping Children's Alliance advance racially equitable policies for kids. We hope you will take a few minutes to go to the link in the next slide and invest in a shared future where all Washington children have the opportunities they need to survive and thrive. Take care and onward.